So this is the wheel that Max Verstappen uses in sim racing.
Half of the Formula One grid has a steering wheel from us.
Love my sim racing. Some people think it's just a game, but it's not.
Ascher Racing, they're an official partner of Team Redline. Max Verstappen's in their team, and they use Ascher Racing equipment. Max!
Sim racing?
Sim racing.
And we are really proud that Team Redline chooses us.
If you had to say one reason why you think that is, what do you think the one reason why F1 teams are using your wheel?
There's a lot of stuff I cannot say, but
This is super exciting because I'm with Ascher Racing, and they're an official partner of Team Redline, which is maybe the best sim racing esports team in the world. Max Verstappen's in their team, and they use Ascher Racing equipment, and it's all about, I understand, absolute performance, Martin. And Martin's the founder of Ascher Racing, so I want to grill you on like what goes into these wheels, those small details, right, about performance. Maybe thinking a little bit in mind with, like, you know, Formula One, they make little subtle details, and then you get pole position by like a hundredth of a second. So are there certain things that when you're designing, are you thinking like small details like that, or is it?
yeah, I mean, the small details, as you said, make all the difference. It can be the track temperature by 1 degree, changing the bite point setting and everything. So we try to go into as much detail as possible. We spend a lot of time lately, like the last whole year, enhancing the software, so that our customers can enhance the pace. We came up with a SimHub plugin, which lets us in the future.
So I have some questions about, because I don't fully understand.
It's super good. I mean, we launched a new product, the large dashboard. You have more space for more information or for useful stuff.
Cinematic.
It's cinematic, yeah. Man. I mean, how long is a pit stop? A minute? You could watch a movie there.
Yeah. Or if your car's getting repaired in the pits.
Sometimes 20 minutes, yeah, absolutely. We talked about the modifier stuff lately, and with a new screen you have more space, so you can see what modified input.
I mean, that's pretty cool, right?
It's currently selected.
Is that lovely dashboard involved as well?
Lovely Dashboard is our partner for dashboards. He integrates our steering wheels directly on the firmware level, so he can read the settings from the wheel and integrate the modifier, for example. With our new SimHub plugin, we can now, first we launch it with feature parity to the control center, so you can make all settings, button mappings and everything. But now we can use the whole SimHub toolbox. So for example, you can connect your bite point setting to each individual car. You can connect it maybe to different track temperatures. So
now we're talking about those small differences, right?
I set up a completely asymmetric curve for the master and slave clutch. And as you can see, the master clutch, it's an individual curve, so that you can drop the clutch pretty quick. And as soon as the slave clutch takes over, you have a lot of travel to move around the bite point.
Got it.
And it's different for every single car, so we can map any settings, like I mentioned, per car, per track, for wet and dry. We can connect everything.
Let me just go back a little bit. So let's say you're on iRacing or your sim, and you've qualified and you have your grid starts. You know when you set this up that you can get yourself the best possible start. That may, if we're honest, if I'm correct, it could get you a position or two, maybe.
Absolutely.
Like, it's more than small details.
And you have to get the settings as well. So if your teammate is sophisticated and tells you, this is my clutch curve for this car, and you uploaded it, you don't have to try it yourself, and you can share settings in your team. And another thing, so when we talk about really nerdy stuff, we developed a whole bunch of our firmware. We redeveloped it. So to unlock a tiny small feature, but I think it's really useful. So we can now trigger from the outside the wheel in certain conditions to tell the rotary switch positions again. And this is very critical in the following scenario. So you are racing with me in a team. you have ABS on 2.
Yep.
I have ABS on 10.
Yeah.
I enter your car.
Yeah.
We swap drivers.
Yeah.
And my position on the wheel is 10,
Yeah.
but in sim it's still 2 because you left the car.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
the sim
So
doesn't
your
know.
wheel is 10, yeah.
So, and our simmer plugin will be able to see there was a driver swap,
Yeah.
see the position
okay.
is different, and then trigger the wheel to get out the position again,
Yeah.
so that I make
To
sure.
refresh the thing.
Exactly. So I don't crash into the corner.
Yeah, because you forget to.
And
yeah.
I think everybody who does team racing
Yeah,
with
we-
cars like that,
yeah.
it happens. And we take care of making sure that this doesn't.
And it can auto fuel me and auto do the wipers and hopefully all these things, and then drive for me in the future a little bit as well. Okay.
Of course, I mean,
So
just ask Simucube to record your wheel settings and then let
with
it
the
drive.
profile.
Let it drive again.
Just a couple of things there. So all these things about, you're talking about a lot about driver swaps and driver profiles. Does that come a little bit from working with Team Redline? And like, we know Max Verstappen, for example, is someone who is really into like those details and like those small things. Has that given you, obviously you been creating these wheels for a long time and these sort of features, but did it give you even an extra understanding or appreciation working with these guys and girls at Redline?
We are in a good conversation with Team Redline and are keen on their feedback on the wheel.
Yeah.
So it's not so long that the whole team is equipped with Ultimates and Pros and dashboards.
Yep.
So first we let them drive and just use the equipment.
Yep.
And listen to the feedback what they have.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they will come up with special ideas like that.
Yep.
So far, it's our idea
Okay.
to implement something like
Yeah.
that. But these guys will always find something
And
that's
about
missing.
performance.
It's performance related, absolutely. Reliability related and performance related.
Yeah.
And for example, with the LED profile, you can do so much. And and we are really proud that Team Redline chooses us.
Yeah. Because they can't afford to risk performance.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
As we've seen in some of the recent races. If you come around, Sam, I'm going to ask a really stupid question. I don't mind asking it. I'm sure a lot of people watching will say that screen, the information looks similar to that screen. Why do you need two screens? How do you explain to your wife that you need another screen? Okay.
I should have uploaded a different
Okay.
dashboard to that, to be honest. So I'm using exact this scenario at home in my rig, and I run a different dashboard on the screen.
So what, for example, what are you running?
I have my own super easy dashboard with just 3
I thought you could say
values.
super secret dashboard.
No. It's super easy. I have a big number for the stint calculator. How much fuel am I consuming? What's the predicted stint length?
Yeah.
Do I need to lift and coast? Another.
So your big number is your laps remaining, not gear.
It's a formula which is looking how much fuel I consume and predicts how much my stint length is going to be.
Okay.
And for large laps like the Nordschleife, you have to be really precise to not run.
That's your main. That's your
Yes.
main one.
So I have on the wheel just the essential driving information,
Okay.
and all the rest is on the large dashboard. So I don't have to switch around.
Got it.
And also, if you have a large dashboard with lots of information, you can have too much information. So I know the screen on the wheel has on the left bottom side my stint calculator. I can have a quick glance. I don't need to look all the time, and the other information is on the main dashboard.
Okay.
So you can split it up, but
That
I
explains
mean,
it. And
you can also have maybe 3 dashboards, right? So why?
But you say, okay, so I mean, you could, I guess you could have flags on here or something.
Yes.
Think, but would you anticipate everyone is going to mount it here, or is it wide enough that you could actually mount it on the side, or?
I would mount it in the center.
Okay.
Because I think the most value from the dashboard comes not from the screen but the LEDs.
Of the revs.
Yes.
And
So with the new dashboard, the widescreen, I increased the LED brightness even more because I'm running.
sunglasses.
Yeah, I'm running in the below a window, and in the summer when the sun is shining,
Okay.
I need the full brightness. or right now it's going to blend my eyes, but you can never have enough brightness.
How do you? So
You can turn it down.
but you get the LEDs or the diodes or whatever, and you get them from a supplier. And do you test them, and you're like looking at them, thinking how bright it is, or?
Yeah, absolutely. First you check, of course, the data sheets and everything, but they don't tell the whole story. So I develop many different variations. I unsole the LEDs and try them out.
Okay.
And the thing with the LEDs is you need color stability when you brighten them down.
They don't change color, temperature.
Yes, exactly. If you have a certain orange and you dim it to 5%, the color may change, and we don't want to have that. So we chose LEDs that they have a color stability, and when you turn it down to 0.4%.
Yeah.
So even though they are really, really bright, you can dim them down to your. If you're driving in the night, you don't want to.
And again, is that a little bit performance? Like, I don't. Let me know if this is too extreme. When you're shifting in some cars to fuel save, you're shifting. Early shifting, I said to say fuel. Can it be like that color actually over the course of a long stint could maybe just save you that bit that gets you to the pits? Whereas if that, because I'm wondering, why do you go for such tolerance? Why are you so strict on the color changing? Because I'm sure some companies would be like, whatever, we'll just put a cheaper one in. But where does that come? Is that just your standards, or is it performance, or like? I don't know.
It's more because if you set up your LED profile, you want to have the colors all the same. If you have it bright or not bright.
Yeah.
If you have a red or an orange shift flash, you don't want it to be red if you dim it down.
Yeah.
And when you drive at night, you need to dim it heavily down because it's super, super bright.
Yeah.
And it's just that it works the whole range of driving conditions. And with the LED profile from us, I mean, there are many, many really good profiles, and we set up our profile in a way that you have a normal rev light, and the flash is much, much brighter.
Okay.
So
okay.
yeah. So it's the normal rev light,
Shift.
and then shift, and you will not forget about the shift. So it's
You almost instinctively shift it. You like almost like a reflex reaction, like a little bit. Okay.
I mean, you can also have a beep in your ear, but
So I have to
LEDs
ask you about Simucube. I don't fully. There's been a lot of Simucube have just announced now Simucube 3, and things about USB pass-through and Simucube Link. Like, what is and you now have a new wheel that is branded, has a Simucube logo on it.
yes.
So what is that? What is the collaboration between Ascher and Simucube? What's going on there?
We love Simucube. I have a really long relationship with Simucube. We talk since the beginning of my company.
Okay.
Actually, I used to build the open sim wheel that's before Simucube.
Okay.
It's the first direct drive do-it-yourself wheel. We used Simucube drive stages for that, and that made Simucube become a sim racing company in the end.
Yeah.
So I used their wireless system from the beginning.
You were also part of the history of Simucube. I can say.
Everybody's growing together, but I know Simucube for a long, long time personally. I've been there many times, and they love what we do as well. So we are a fitting match, and I think the cherry on the cake is that Team Redline, for example, chose Simucube and us to be both their high-end.
So it's just performance.
Yeah, they are using the active pedals and the Simucube for the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And our steering wheel as a co-branded.
So that is the package if you want to have the Team Redline experience. But how does it work with the connection on the Simucube? It's just...
So Simucube just launched their new light bridge technology. It's really early.
Yeah.
And we will see if we can make it work.
Okay.
But right now, you connected the old-fashioned way with the cable.
Yeah.
And their new kit release opens up a new ecosystem.
Yeah.
And let's see what the future brings.
Okay, but you have a close relationship with Simucube.
Yeah, we have a close relationship.
And you said you were making like the OSW. I see a lot of other brands who start with rims or something, and then they're like, we'll make a pedal, we'll make a base. Does that enter your mind now, or do you keep it very... I feel like Asher is a very focused company. That's my impression.
I mean, we are known for steering wheels. We have a long road still ahead of us. We certainly keep the focus on steering wheels for now, and they're.
Okay, but you personally, is that something that excites you? Or you're like, I'm not interested.
I mean, I have only so much time, right? I would do everything. But yeah, steering wheel is my passion, and that's what I want to do, at least for now.
Yeah, I have a feeling that.
And to be honest, my company is in the high end, in the high technology-wise. We cannot do something for the entry market, for example.
Yes.
So if we would do other products, they should be also the best, or at least try to be the best. So I think Simucube is doing a really good job, and we focus on what we do right now.
I think, in the long time in the future, if something like that was to happen with an expansion of products, I have a feeling there'll be people who know and trust and love their Ascher racing wheel, and they think, I want to get another Ascher product. That's a nice place to be. But we also see other companies who just seem to be coming out with everything. One of the products has an issue, and it starts to affect the reputation of their main product, so it can be a bit risky. But
I've spoken to people on the exhibition.
Yeah.
They came to me and have every single product in my lifetime. So my company was founded in 2014.
Yeah.
And I started with pedal shifters, then button boxes for steering wheels, and now full steering wheels. And there are customers outside who have bought everything I've ever done. So it's passionate from every side, I think.
And just finally, I just want to bring it back to like the performance, and I'm very lucky to travel around the world and speak to a lot of racing drivers. For example, I was speaking with Taylor Barnard a lot this season, who's he has his own F64, the Ascher wheel, and also he's bought the Simucube active pedals. And there's this kind of like, as we see more racing drivers like Max Verstappen do sim racing, I think there'll be more of an interest of like, well, what equipment are they using? And maybe that didn't exist as much before, I would say, dare I say it, but...
There's a lot of stuff I cannot say, but I think half of the Formula One grids has a steering wheel from us, at least at home somewhere.
But they can never talk about it.
Some are official. There are multiple Formula One teams. They use the Ultimate wheel right now in their simulators.
Even though it's not a...
Not in the 10 million simulator, but for driver training, they have many simulators. There are multiple Formula One teams that are using the Ultimate right now.
If you had to say one reason why you think that is, what do you think the one reason why F1 teams are using your wheel?
It is very close to the real wheel. They like how easy it is to use, and I think for them it makes sense to buy, I don't know, 10 Ultimates instead of building 10 Formula One wheels because they are freaking expensive.
I like the idea that I will say it. There could be other Formula One teams who are not McLaren who are using a McLaren branded wheel, and that makes me.
That's why we launched the custom version, because they don't want to use a McLaren wheel in some. I mean.
Yeah. But I think if we come round, if we finish this interview, Sam, it's been a grazing, Martin, again to catch up with you. But when I look at this wheel, we were chatting about it yesterday. Like, this to me, this is a. Has gone in a, this is a, I don't know how to explain it. There's a lot of wheels on the market today that I feel like look the same. Lots of rotaries, lots of LED backlights, lots of, paddles on the back. I feel like this has a very distinctive form factor, and I feel that that derives from the materials used and the way that it's manufactured, which is quite interesting. And that makes it a bit harder to, let's say, copy from other brands. But it's interesting for me in the last few years, as I've seen this proliferation of wheels, how I feel like the Ascher wheel remains distinctive. And I would say with these Arturia ones, actually the McLaren is quite an important part of the branding for me. And I feel like it's been I don't have an issue with it, but it's been like quite a nice association that just adds like another like stamp of quality. Yeah. And Team Redline is another one. And in the future, if there was to be stuff that was branded Team Redline, I could see that just being like absolutely huge. But yeah, Martin, it's been so great to catch up with you. Really exciting times. Always like the level of detail, we go like way over time, because you've been designing these products yourself for years. And yeah, thanks. Thank you so much for keeping the passion for sim racing.